is playing the Naturia Runick strategy, which he topped YCS Peru with.
Yeah.
So we're going to get stuck in here. We're going to go straight into it. So it'll be interesting to see how this control deck of Naturia Runick interacts with the Phantom Knight matchup.
I'm really curious to see what Ping does with this deck. Because
they can have varied end boards.
Yeah, it's been a little while. I think the last time I saw the Phantom Knight strategy was actually in my top 4 match at the UK Nationals last year.
It's been a bit, yeah.
So we're just waiting to see kind of where he takes it, I think.
Yeah, it's one of those versatile engines that are just, it's just so good at what it does, it just pops up out of nowhere a lot of the time. Because a lot of the stuff just does the same thing, and Cherubini just gets you where you need to go.
Exactly.
And the Adventurer engine is something we haven't seen in a while either, because post Nats format, it just fell off because I get Tier Element made a lot of changes, and with that being gone, like mentioned before, it's reverting back to previous engines. And Adventurer is one of those engines that we have seen do well, as it won YCS Peru as well. Like it was in the Sprite engine.
Yeah, because he's playing quite a large Sprite deck as well. I think it's around 50 cards, right?
That was the guy that got second.
Okay.
So they were playing fairly similar builds. But so this is the combo. Combination here.
Yes.
Hugin Ditch Sacred Tree.
I have a love-hate relationship with this deck because I think this deck's really cool. I like what it does. I like how it just gets these little bits of advantage and it kind of gets there. At the same time, if you don't hit these Naturia cards in your opening hand, it feels like you're just playing Runick, which without that additional engine, it feels like you're not doing as much as you need to be.
Yes, and as we previously discussed, Runick by itself just doesn't really do an awful lot. In terms of utility, it's quite solid, but then like its end game is just not there. So just to add context as to what on earth's going on, so any of the Runick spell cards can summon a Hugin, and then Hugin can ditch a card in your hand, which has good utility with the Naturias. Because Naturia's Sacred Tree is if this card is sent to the graveyard, you can add one Naturia card from your deck to your hand. And what's great about that is it's not once per turn. So none of the Naturia cards, I recall, are once per turn.
None of the older ones, let's say.
And even the newer ones, like Naturia Blessing, I don't even think that's once per turn either. It's like
that card's really, really strong as well.
It can do a combination of things. It can special summon one Naturia monster from your hand or graveyard. Immediately after its effect resolves, synchro summon one synchro monster using monsters you control as material. So you can summon the Sunflower, which is a disruptor, and then it can synchro summon into either Naturia, Beast, or Barkion, depending on the situation.
Exactly. And
then I'm not sure if you do this an awful lot. Probably not. Fusion summon one fusion monster from your extra deck, which, you know, it'd be cool to see exterior, but like, I don't think that's very unrealistic. You're probably in a win more situation if you summon exterior.
So he's going to summon the Mole Cricket there.
So he's summoning Camellia and the Cricket, which are both quite good utility cards. Cricket contribute itself to summon 2 Naturias from the deck.
So yes, it's 1 Naturia, then if your opponent controls a monster with the highest original attack, it summons a second from the deck. That's quite an unfortunate mill there. Obviously, I think he was, Cormac was there, was looking to
hit a Naturia or Sacred Tree.
The Sacred Tree maybe, or even just Runick spells, right?
Yeah, just to fuel up the draws of Fountain. So he's min in the Biru, which is not completely unorthodox. But what I would say is quite interesting is min decking Droll and Lockbird.
I think they're definitely taking more of a... I'm trying to think of the words, but
they've probably had some like their testing circle have had some like revelations post Peru, and there's probably a reason why he's thinking that you need to main deck Droll and Lockbird.
I think it's very good looking, especially into maybe this Naturia Runick mirror match maybe, but then also against decks like Sprite. I'd say Droll and Lockbird's pretty strong against Sprite.
Yeah, there's scenarios where Droll can catch your opponent out and put them in really awkward situations. Like, I've played hands out with Kashtira where you can respect Droll and Lockbird, but since Droll and Lockbird is not really something in the format, like it isn't something you directly think about, and that in itself can cause like a lot of drama for your hand and just put you in awkward spots where you can't do anything. Like our habit, like so you can activate Terraform just to get the field spell, even though you've already got the field spell, and then you're in a position where it's just like, oh, I've been drawled, I can't do anything.
Yeah, exactly.
And maybe he's thinking more along those lines where you can just like play into the positive variance of it.
He just keeps on drawing cards. I think he's at 5 cards in hand now. It's just...
And this is just what
stop.
This is what the Runick and Naturia engine does. Like the Naturia engine offers the win condition in terms of you put a big synchro monsters on the field, but Baron de Fleur protects you from being Nibiru'd or evenly matched. It's probably the 2 most scariest cards, which Naturia Beast doesn't interact with. And then Naturia Beast just, spells are probably pretty good.
Weirdly, some of the best parts of this game.
Yeah, so and like stopping those whilst also you mill your deck with this as well. That's not even a hindrance. That just fuels Fountain. If you hit Sacred Tree, you just get it just complements the deck so well.
There's just lots of bonuses to it, especially as in Ping's opening hand. I believe I saw one of the Cosmic Cyclones in his main deck, which normally be pretty good versus this Runick deck, but right now with the Naturia Beast,
thanks to Beastie Weastie,
it's not.
Every spell becomes a blank.
Yes, exactly.
And then 1 card extra in your hand becomes a blank because of Baron de Fleur, and then the Cricket being able to summon a Sunflower.
Exactly. Yeah.
Which then, when your opponent's monster effect is activated, quick effect, you contribute 1 Naturia monster, and this card negate the activation if you do destroy that. So that takes another card out of their hand. Oh, and it's just. Ping is just not even bothered. He has just accepted that end field was ridiculous. So he just thought, well, let's not let Cormac know what I'm playing.
Exactly.
And let's just go to the next game, and hopefully that's a good enough advantage to see me through the match.
I think it's quite a heads-up play on Ping's behalf, especially because it's not like he's playing one of the main 5 or 6 decks you'd expect to see in the room.
Yeah,
he's playing Phantom Knights.
It's a curveball, right? So Cormac, if he knows what he's playing, then fair enough, he can side accordingly for it. But now he's thinking, oh dear, what's the game plan here when you side blind? A lot of the time you would assume it's Kashtira. You can try and predict what the deck is, because if they didn't try anything, you would think, okay, what deck would not play into Beast Baron? So you assume it's not any of the trap decks, because he would have set his traps. So you wouldn't put in any of the removal for spell and traps. He would probably assume it's maybe something like Kashtira or Sprite.
Yeah, that's what I'd assume. I think this is a really important skill to have as well as a player, just deciding when it's the correct time to scoop and go for the next game.
Especially when you play a deck like Cormac's, where a lot of people will just concede before even playing a card, and you would have to just get used to siding like this. And
I think it's also just a matter of other skills that you pick up when playing card games, especially. I think you just read the body language, you read how they're thinking about the cards, how they're reacting when you activate certain cards on the field as well.
Agreed.
It's just all of those things together, you kind of just pick up as you naturally play and play the game.
Body language is a skill that you do.
It is.
You do just pick up. Yeah, people just can't help but have negative reaction to certain cards.
A little smirk, a sigh, anything cheeky little like that.
Baron de Fleur, huh? Okay. You have that too, huh?
Yeah.
But the game plan for Ping going first though is side deck is just looking like Dimensional Barrier.
Yeah.
I'm not sure if that interacts really well. I know they synchro summon the Naturia deck, but it's not the be all end all. You have your Runick spells that can interact with the field and just go for sort of defensive plays.
Maybe I'm a little ignorant. I don't think, if I was in Ping's situation, I don't think I'd side anything here. I'd make it look like I'm siding something.
Yeah, you have to. Yeah.
I think his main deck's pretty well built for this matchup, especially given what it's deciding. There's nothing really
Cosmic in the main that stops the Fountain, which just turns off the Runick engine completely. He plays Infinite Impermanence, and Infinite Impermanence on Hugin, especially when they have to discard, is
same for Ash Blossom,
pretty good. Yeah, Ash Blossom with the coverage. So he's got a lot of ways to deal with the Runick engine.
He's just going to do his combo as well.
Can the Naturia engine survive by itself? Is that something that?
I'm unsure, because the Naturia engine, it seems like it's very much more advantage based.
Yes.
You need that other aspects of it to give it that push.
So Runick can give you that time to get the Naturia engine, but the Naturia engine by itself doesn't really
I think you get some draws along the way while you climb up into secrets like Baron de Fleur, you get the Coral Dragon, the Stardust Child Warrior.
But the Runick engine is the most important. So I'm assuming Ping's going to start here, as he has a solid win condition going first. With he plays Evil Swarm Ophion, which should be quite cool. So it means that would.
Oh, there's Ophion.
Yeah, he's got Ophion in the extra deck. Yeah.
How did I miss Ophion? Oh my god!
That'll be quite good in the Kashtira match. I'm not massively sure how good it is here. If he plays Evil Swarm Pandemic, that'll be hilarious.
That would be amazing.
He does not.
That would be beautiful.
Because Orpheon against this deck, if you get Pandemic, that would be pretty sick.
Yeah.
But he doesn't, so I'd be very surprised if he does do this. So he's respecting, well, everything here, because he's going straight for the Adventurer package.
Yeah.
Which, if you recall from the format,
there you go, callback reaction to Phantom Knight of Torn Scales.
Yeah, now he's just like, okay. So he's playing Phantom Knights.
Yeah.
And he didn't summon the Griffin first. Why do you think he did that? You think?
Well, he wants to get the faithful, the Draco back, right? So I'm assuming that he's going to try and keep the token on board, on field even.
Oh no! And, on the field.
I know. And he's gonna try and keep it on the field instead of maybe using it to link climb into something greater.
Yeah, maybe Taunt Scale resolving wasn't like the be all end all, so he didn't feel it important.
There you go. The level 3
wielder,
extender.
a generic level 3 extender to get him into probably, arguably, I'd say one of the best cards ever printed, Cherubini.
Yes.
Sending a level 3 for cost.
Yeah.
It's pretty mental.
I think I have nightmares about this card resolving sometimes.
Something you can do. Oh, he also plays the Burning Abyss engine as well.
Yeah. I think.
Is that still common? And not the Phantom Knight's common. But
yeah, I was going to say. I guess so. It just gets you to that Bodish, right? And then that Bodish sets up everything else anyway. So I think that's where we're going to see him go. Again, we haven't seen these Phantom Knight cards for a long, long time, so we're unsure where he's quite going to go.
So far, it is very typical. I recall this from when Phantom Knight was first good, when the Adventurer engine did drop, and we had like Prank Kids, and pretty much it was pretty much what was the best engine with Adventurer when this deck first got. Like, Grand Creators was very like the Adventurer engine seemed so good, and if you didn't play a deck with the Adventurer package, it felt
like you were missing out. I know
like Prank Kids, Phantom Knight, that was the meta at the time.
I had a struggle of a regional where I was not fully aware of the capabilities of the adventure cards, and I was playing Sword Soul, and I hadn't got the new level 10 yet. So I went
Kixing.
Yeah.
Oh, so you got bullied.
So I got bullied. I summoned Baron de Fleur. Was like negate right. I had to face another one, and I was like
Right of Amateur just like checks the Sword Soul board. That's like, I remember it forced you to have to go Kixing blind and just accept it if they had Nibiru, because you just couldn't cope with the Adventurer package otherwise.
Yeah, I'm just checking to see if he's playing the F0 package here, but it does not look like he is.
Just double checking Griffin for something. Just like, yes, it does negate any.
I don't think,
so I have to keep the token on the field.
I don't think Ping has played a little bit of Yu-Gi-Oh for a while. That's why he was.
I guess would explain the deck that's a couple of years old.
Yeah, I did check with him because the last time I spoke to him, he was playing Ancient Warriors. So I was like, maybe we get Ancient Warriors here.
That deck was cool. You could play that with because Double Dragon Lords was quite good, similar to like Heretic Seal.
I want to see what's happening here now. He's gonna. I think he's making Appaloosa above the Goddess.
Yeah, that's interesting.
It's not the greatest, I'd say.
Oh no, he's going for Griffin. So he's going for something more interesting. So what is he setting though?
I didn't even see Griffin in his extra deck. Oh, it is there. That's crazy.
It is there. I guess it isn't something that you actively think about because Curious is no longer in the
format.
format.
Exactly. Oh, I do miss that.
But what is he going to set?
Yeah, I'm assuming he's going to keep going. Just what for now?
I'm just interested to see if you can get a card in his graveyard which you can set off Griffin. But Griffin's on summon, right? So maybe he's just using Griffin as a means of disruption rather than the actual set effect. Because Griffin is kind of like Baguska in a way, right?
Yeah, exactly. So unless the monster's linked, no effect. So that's gonna.
So that means that Hugin just doesn't work.
Exactly.
So now he needs his Runick cards to interact with that Griffin. But then any time he tries to interact with that Griffin, he has another Griffin to negate that one.
Yeah. So we can see in Cormac's side, he's got Dark Rulers, Kurikara.
That would check the board. Yeah.
Evenly matched.
Field. He would check the field.
He's also he also is playing Grave of the Super Ancient Organism.
And is that something that would
no, not in this matchup.
No. Well, this is blind after all.
Exactly.
So he would have probably put in Ash Blossoms blind. That's probably the most generic thing.
He may have put Dark Rulers in, maybe maybe evenly matched more so.
Yeah, those are the things that I would respect that he put in the side that he was siding because they are fairly generic.
Yep.
I don't think he would have put in things like Duster or Kurikara. in there because they're not as generic as the others. But then he also doesn't want to side out cards that are already good in his main deck. Right?
Yeah, I'm curious to see how Cormac's going to look at dismantling this field. Because we know there's at least one Fogblade set. There is
that also
Griffin.
just stops Hugin, and this deck's very like, I really need Hugin to resolve, or I just can't really do an awful lot. So he's negated the first point of disruption against the Griffin.
Do we think this is going to lead to a potential evenly matched here? Then again, we can see in the battle phase.
We are just not sure, simply because... Oh, but he skipped his next battle phase, right? So he can't actually...
Yeah, unless he entered the battle phase first. Which I think he might have.
Yeah, yes, and here we go. Yes, and he did. His blind pick was evenly matched, but does he have a means of disrupting this? Because he has a lot of cards on the field.
That's the one unknown, and he will be keeping the token if it does resolve.
Oh, of course, yes. So it does effectively get rid of everything because that adventurer token is effectively useless. So he's going to use. So what would you do here? What's the game? Would you say fusion? So
I think you have to say fusion.
You have to say fusion.
Yeah,
you just can't let Hugin get going.
Yeah, because if Hugin gets established, you get that field spell. I think it might just be game over for Ping at that point.
So putting an evenly matched blind it turns out a good choice, a very good choice, and I think that's quite reasonable as well.
We have
it has an insane amount of coverage this format where a lot of people are committing cards on the field.
You also have to remember that Ping does have an awful lot of fancy white cards in his graveyard. So
there is still ways of interaction for Ping.
Yeah.
It's just whether Cormac cares.
Exactly.
Because the wing it can summon a card from grave, but what?
At what cost?
What is he summoning that is at all problematic? You know, because the typical thing that can be problematic is summoning Break Sword into a zone. Rusty points to, so Rusty pops a card. But we're just not in this sort of situation. And since he has a monster on the field, that means Mole Cricket is just going to...
Cricket will get summoned too. It's quite important, especially, I'd assume you'd leave the Sunflower in going second. That might be...
Yeah, if that's how this deck works,
I think you need it, right? Yeah.
You're playing a grindy deck that doesn't end the game turn one. So it makes sense to keep those like engine requirements in.
There we go.
Yeah, of course.
And then you get is it Camellia?
This is assuming he's called Fusion.
I would assume he's called Fusion. I think, again, Ping realises that once the Runick cards get established, it's probably not a good position.
Oh, and he has Sacred Tree in his hand, so he's getting even more card advantage.
So Camellia sending the Sacred Tree there. We're getting the bad. I reckon we'll add the spell, yep. So I think he'll end up making a Charge Warrior here to get another draw. Blessing back the Camellia, make the Baron.
So the plan is just to draw as many cards as possible.
Yeah, exactly.
Because it looks like Ping only has one card in hand, and by the looks of his body language, he's already accepted under defeat here. Oh, the tip. Oh, that's the ad. Okay, so he isn't summoning Hugin. So
yeah, there you go. So he's going to get his Phantom there.
Oh my goodness! Even though he. Oh,
that's a really good one as well.
That would have been something quite decent to get rid of. You see Ping seeing the irony of what just happened there. Good to see he's not getting totally frustrated with the situation. He is just enjoying the game for as it is.
If I've learned anything, that is Ping in a nutshell.
Yeah, you just got. Sometimes it's just one of those games, you know.
Exactly.
That's just Yu-Gi-Oh. Can't take it too seriously all the time, no matter how competitive you are.
Exactly. Yeah. So I think he goes for the Charge Warrior here.
Yeah, we're again. So that's confirmation that Fusion was declared on
the
with he is just looking to go as far in as possible. He has respected. If he would respect Nibiru, I assume, right?
This is the 4th summon, so the Blessing will be the 5th summon here.
Right. Was this necessary? Would you say?
Well, he's going to make a Baron here, so.
Ups and downs, the Blessing immediately synchro summons after.
No. That's a good question. I don't think so though.
Let's get the text of Blessing. I'm sure there was a point where it just immediately synchro summons after you summon the card. So let's just get this up. So activate one of these effects.
That's really good. That's really cool.
I think it's one of these effects. So it would only do one of the other.
Okay.
So he would use this as like a formula
Yeah.
synchron effect as opposed to summon then synchro.
Yeah.
But
that makes sense.
it doesn't look like he has Nibiru, and by the looks of Ping's body language, you could probably just gather that he doesn't have Nibiru. Otherwise, he'd probably look a bit more optimistic.
Exactly.
Yeah, so you summon Baron de Fleur. I think you just pop this token.
Yeah,
because if he activates right, if he just specials another Griffin Rider that he can cop deck, that can get really awkward. Yeah, just get rid of that. And then he's going to draw 2 cards, I think, in there. Or does it? Oh, no,
you draw 3.
He's getting more. And which one's that one?
So it's protect from card destruction and battle.
So
and then banishes the top 3 cards of the deck.
So he's just valuing the extra draw over that card. He didn't want to use it.
The second Cosmic, which is important as well.
Yeah.
Again, you can see the 2 of them realizing these. The irony of some of these actions.
He's only going for the 2,
for 2.
Maybe he just wanted to keep it in grey for whatever reason.
May have also just forgot because it's right at the bottom. Who knows?
Let's assume not.
Horn it for later. Setting a card, maybe to play around the Cosmic.
And can Baron be a follow-up play?
You can attack up in for the Camellia, and that gives you that extra Sacred Tree trigger.
So he does have engine going. So this was the threat of the wings to put 2 monsters on the field. Not sure what these monsters can do. It can go straight into a break sword to bait the Baron. But it just completely depends on what Cormac's other defensive cards are. Yeah,
so he's gonna. In my head, he makes break sword, right?
Yeah.
Activates break sword, tries to put the Baron or the field spell.
Yeah, that's the obvious.
And then
if Breaksword, does it have an effect when it's destroyed?
Yeah, so if it's destroyed, it will summon back the 2 Phantom Knights. So either way, he's just getting advantage.
Yeah. So it's as far as pushes go, they're pretty good. So he's activating Cricket to bring that card back. And more Cricket can just apply a lot more.
Yeah, exactly.
As well. Just as long as the monster stays on the field, that's just gonna summon the Sunflower and something else. Even with the Sunflower engraved, it doesn't matter, right?
So I think it has to summon the Sunflower from the deck here. So it makes it a little bit more awkward, let's say.
Right.
But we'll see.
But if he has Blessing, then he can...
Yeah, exactly. So if Blessing is the set card,
then he can perform a Synchro Summon.
Yeah.
Which is pretty good as well.
Sending his 3rd copy of Sacred Tree, I believe.
So he's only summoning the 1?
Yes, because Baron is the highest attack monster on the field.
I see.
That's the only issue with it.
That makes sense. Was there a reason why he did this right now?
So in my head, that set card could also be another copy of Blessing. And he could negate the what's it called? The Breaksword with the Baron, and then maybe chain the Blessing to summon back the Sunflower, and then he can negate with Sunflower.
I see. Yeah. That would be
good.
A reasonable line. Good.
Yeah.
Blessing bringing back the Sunflower, so then Sunflower is set up to negate the break sword effect in grave. Yeah. And it would leave Ping on a card that he previously didn't use in his last turn, which would assume is
additional cards in hand. And he still does have the 2 Phantom Knight cards in the graveyard though, which is quite a benefit.
He still has Ancient Cloak, which can get him a Phantom Knight card. Torn Scales as well. So there is stuff he can do. It's just a little bit more advanced for me since I haven't played a lot of Phantom Knight. So he's just going straight to the battle phase, which
is scary as well because Zeus can be threatened.
Zeus can indeed be threatened.
Yeah.
Maybe he did this a bit too early, and he just didn't. Or maybe he just wanted him to just force the battle phase. But now he has access to Zeus, which is something that he. Is completely possible, but I think if Breaksword uses its effect to bring back 2 level 4s, he's locked in the dogs.
I think it's as ironic as
there's an argument to just let the Baron.
I think I would let the Baron just end.
I guess it depends on how scary you think the rank 4 utility is.
Yeah, it depends also if he wants that additional follow-up for next turn, right?
Yeah, I mean he might already have it if if there's a Blessing set. Oh, okay.
Oh, this is a cool play.
Oh, you can activate the Runick from hand.
Yeah, so he can summon Hugin now, and then Hugin can protect from being destroyed.
Oh, that's anything? I thought it was just back row.
No, so it can protect.
So does Breaksword just resolve without effect, or
Let's find
does it
out.
have to destroy both cards?
They're asking.
I am quite interested with that, so I'm gonna. I respect the judge's decision there, of course, but for my own
Is he going to
sanity,
check the rest of his graveyard? Because there should be.
I
one
kind
at
of
the
want to read
bottom.
Breaksword myself.
And he has got 2 there. I think being dark locked is kind of okay for Cormac as well, in all honesty.
It does say destroy them, so it would attempt to destroy both monsters,
Yep.
regardless of whether the
Yes,
other monster
yeah,
can be
yeah.
destroyed or not.
Yeah.
So this ruling is correct.
Um,
So now dark locked, no Zeus.
no Zeus,
He
which is pretty good.
2 level 4 monsters.
And
The
he-
Baron is still
Live,
just
yeah.
chilling. Yeah.
Chilling out there.
I completely went over my head. So it's been a while since I've seen Runics in action. So being able to activate Runic cards from your
Yeah,
hand
it's really.
is
They've just
mental.
got these such unique effects that even though it adds the field spell, it does everything you could want from that little fusion monster.
Fountain's
It
done.
also just randomly protects.
Yeah. It's just-
Oh, it has draw Lockbird, which is really good just because it stops.
this is quite decent here.
Yeah.
He's getting hit by the random blend of cards that you might not always
Yeah.
side in against Phantom Knights, just because he wasn't sure how to side
Yeah,
deck.
I
But
think even if I was playing against the knowledge of Phantom Knights, I think
Evenly
it
is
makes
fine
sense,
blind. I'm not sure if I would have kept the draw lane blind
No.
though.
I don't think so.
I think I would have took that out. Or maybe you
That
went
could
for
be
a
an
mix.
argument, yeah.
You could have went for a nice little varied mix and just kept 2 odds of things, which is a bit wild, but
It's a bit wild.
it's not
but
unreasonable.
No. Because especially with all of the draws you're going to be getting from this Runic deck.
Yeah, you could just be like, I'll just get lucky and just draw when I need, and whatever I draw that I don't need.
You just get a right off the right situation. It'll be fine.
Some irons.
There you go.
And
So
is the back row anything super spooky?
I don't know what the back row could be in all honesty.
It's Blessing,
Oh, it was.
as predicted.
Oh, I love that. I'm right. That's what it has to be.
He's going to summon back the flower. I
Yeah.
can't remember its actual
So
name. I'm gonna-
Camellia. So I believe Camellia also has a bonus text. Where if
bonus effect.
yeah, where I think if a monster is summoned from the extra deck, it also summons a Naturia back from the graveyard.
Ooh,
we'll
so
double
what you're
check.
saying is, since he's already used his battle phase,
Yeah,
he has to deal with that with his current monsters on the field.
Yeah.
But he special summoned Boots, so maybe it's just when any monster special summon. So here comes the flower.
yeah.
So now he's got flower and Baron de Fleur.
Yeah,
And locked into darks.
the plus side of the flower as well, it can negate twice. Because Camellia will, instead of doing the tribute function, remember the top 2 cards of the deck instead, not only setting up more Runic spells.
This is
but-
getting quite oppressive.
Yeah. And he still has the Baron as well, I believe.
He does.
So that's still
Baron's just
3
been chilling.
interrupts, yeah. I'm not sure if Arc Rebellion has, again, bonus text. I think it does do some negates. I might be wrong, but...
But then when you're facing down like 3
Free,
negates
yeah.
in Sunflower. So he's summoned Rider's Knight, which is something I've just never seen summoned before. So I'm going to check what that does. I've seen it in like
What, Raider's Knight?
more fun Phantom Knight decks. But
Yeah,
I've
so I
never-
think it basically almost cheats out a monster of the above or below rank.
Yeah, so you can attach full material from this card, special summon from your extra deck 1 Phantom Knight, Raid Raptor, or XYZ Dragon. XYZ monster that is 1 rank higher or lower than this card. By using this face-up card, you control as a material, but destroy it during your opponent's next end phase.
Yep.
So it's just effectively like a rank up XYZ.
Exactly, yeah. So it's really...
I don't think it would have been unreasonable to just negate it just because you can't be bothered to see where he's going.
Yeah, I'd agree. It's one of those things
I think that's what he did. I think that's why he's no longer on the field, yeah.
I think it's one of those times where I'm quite anxious.
Oh, he's just conceded. So, I wasn't really sure how that was going to go with the Baron pass, but then like Blessing not being once per turn is a blessing in itself.
Exactly, yes.
So being able to just constantly summon the Naturia engine to just check every single Phantom Knight play that he did. Fair play to Ping though, with the 1 card in his hand, like Phantom Knight is a resilient engine, and it means that you can just keep pushing. But it was just too much in the end. That evenly matched was well played, activating a Runic spell in the battle phase.
Exactly.
He could have maybe saw his draw for turn because Cormac had to miss his battle phase.
Yeah.
But you're at a point where like the grind's not going to be good enough. So